All right, so as I said, for anybody that is brand new, my name is Aviva. I'm the Customer Experience Manager here with AXUS Travel App, and this is a client-based focused training. So we're gonna talk about having your res cards import from ClientBase into AXUS, and then going about adding information, adjusting any information, adding additional details like our documents, guides, publishing, and then what that whole process looks like from the client perspective. If we have anybody brand new, I'm gonna sign out of my account because I wanna just focus on where we begin to get this whole party started. We're always gonna start out at axustravelapp.com. This is where we go to build our itineraries. This is where we go to access those res cards, add in the information, and send it off. The app itself is going to be your end product. This is where the client will be viewing the actual final presentation of the itinerary. So in terms of the building process and the pre-sending off, we always go to axustravelapp.com and log in. We're gonna go ahead and use our credentials that were used during our sign-up process, email and password, and select login. Now, the first screen that you'll be brought to is your itineraries page. This is where all of those res cards are going to automatically import and populate in chronological order. If anybody does not have that client-based connection established, please shoot me a message in the chat section. We'll go over it then at the end, just where to get that connection started. We only need it started by one person within the organization. Once that's connected, it's going to be connected for everybody. So if there's anybody on this webinar that is not seeing any itineraries under that section, shoot me a message in the chat section and I can send you more information on how to get the two accounts linked up. Otherwise, it's an automatic import process. We sync every evening with ClientBase. So any updates or information that you've added into ClientBase, I say give it up to 24 hours in terms of having it import into AXUS. As a reminder, you want to keep in mind that prior to importing into AXUS, it first goes from ClientBase to TRAM, and then TRAMs into AXUS. So we first have to wait for that kind of initial import to complete from ClientBase into TRAM prior to it importing into AXUS. So again, a 24-hour maximum window until the updates are displayed in AXUS. Once those res cards come over, they're going to pull over as we said, itineraries. In terms of filtering, we have a few options up here at the top. We can filter by a specific date. So our start and end date here and apply that filter. Otherwise, you can view all of your traveling now itineraries. Current will be any of your upcoming itineraries, and archive will be a spot where we can store any itinerary that has now passed. So once that return date has passed, we automatically move it over to your restore folder. If you need to access them, if you need to refer back to any itineraries, they'll be found right there under archive. Otherwise, another option is to use your Travelers tab. And you'll notice at the top of AXUS, you have 4 different categories. I know I have 6 up here. Dashboard and organization. For those that have logged into AXUS, you might be wondering, well, where are those 2 tabs? These are tabs for the admin of the account. So if you're an admin of an account, you'll see that dashboard and organization tab. If you'd like more information, you can shoot us an email and I'm happy to give you a bit more detail on that. Otherwise, you should be seeing advisors, travelers, vendors, and of course, itineraries. So we can also search for an itinerary based on our travelers. If I select the Travelers tab, I'm pulled into what I like to call my mini CRM within AXUS. These are all the traveler profiles that have been brought over from the ClientBase res card, or perhaps I created them within AXUS. We can search by last name, so I'll select J for Jones, and then we'll scroll down until we locate the first name of that traveler. once you find the name, you're going to come to the right, and you'll see you have the option to view itineraries. So I can view all itineraries for Bernice Jones. It will start by showing me all of her upcoming trips. But again, if you need to access anything that's already passed, select Archive, and it will show you anything that was in the past for that traveler. So let's go back to our current, because we're going to be working on this Hawaii adventure itinerary. This is what you'll initially see on your itineraries page, your itinerary level information. So to enter into the actual itinerary, click on the title, and this will pull you into your booking section. So we can start to see all of the reservations that have come over as bookings in AXUS. So we convert those reservations and we add individual booking segments. We put it under the date and we have all that information. If you want to view any of the booking information that has come over, simply either click on the title or you can select the 3 dots icon, which is going to show you your booking actions. If you're working on that existing booking, we'll come back to the first 2, but you can edit, duplicate, or delete. So you can also choose to edit from the bookings action menu, or as I said, simply click the title. This is where you're going to start to see how the fields have pulled over from ClientBase. Everything is matched field by field. And you'll see, I know it's a little hard on the webinar sometimes, certain fields are going to be grayed out. These are the fields that are connected to ClientBase. And you'll see up here at the top, you're going to have a sentence that says that the ClientBase import is on. Certain fields are grayed out and read only, and simply to continue making changes in ClientBase. There's 2 ways that we can go about updating the actual day-to-day information. The first is, as we see here, we continue making the changes in ClientBase. The import is connected. Within 24 hours, it's brought over into AXUS. Now, if I don't have time to wait for those 24 hours, or perhaps this is an itinerary that has already begun and it's in my traveler's hands and I don't have, again, the time to wait for those 24 hours, I can choose to stop the ClientBase import for that particular booking. So every booking has the Stop ClientBase Import checkbox. I can check it off. It's going to show me now that because I've checked it off, the ClientBase import is off, and the bookings are now in editable form within AXUS. So you'll notice whatever might have been grayed out before, I can now come and adjust the information as needed. So if you need to make a quick adjustment, maybe the departure time was changed, delayed a little bit, you can stop that ClientBase import. It's going to open up the booking fields and you directly make the changes in AXUS. So you can do it either way. What's most important to know is you don't want to toggle back and forth. So even if I've made the changes and then I've added them into ClientBase, it's still best to keep that import off. Once you've adjusted in AXUS, we don't want any overriding of information to come over. So my rule of thumb is to either keep that checkbox unchecked, have the import coming through, make your changes in ClientBase, or if you prefer to have a more immediate update to the itinerary in your client's app or web view, stop the ClientBase import, and you can directly make changes within that AXUS booking. Again, when we stop it, we're just disconnecting that one segment, that one reservation to that one booking in AXUS. So you still have everything else coming over for the rest of the itinerary. And then just make sure if you do make changes, you save. So we can take a nice preview of all the information that's come over. I usually recommend when you are importing from ClientBase, it's nice to take a quick look at either the web view or a PDF. Each one will just give you a quick, simplified look at how that information has come over. This is also a great way to see if you do have any updates that need to be made. We always start with an overview. So you can see that overview here. And of course, any dates that don't have a booking currently listed, we don't show it. So if it's an empty date, there's nothing going on that day, we don't show it. So we can start to see all of our information here, our flight details. Everything is exactly in the spot where it needs to sit. We've formatted everything from that res card. The hotel ones are going to be a little bit different. So if you are from Signature or you're with Virtuoso, we do have a direct connection to their preferred hotel database. If you're using a Signature or a Virtuoso preferred hotel, again, we'll match it with whatever consortia you signed up with on the AXUS side. We then say, okay, this is a Virtuoso preferred hotel, and we enhance it when it comes over from ClientBase. What does that mean to enhance it? It means we pull through images, we pull through a check-in and checkout time, a property description, and a cancellation policy. So these items are going to be automatically filled out for you within your AXUS Travel App account. We also provide the option, and let's actually just go back into the itinerary and we'll take a look. If I click into our hotel, you can start to see the information that was automatically filled out here. I've, of course, added more client-specific details, so those were pulled over as well. And we also provide the option under the amenity templates to add the preferred amenities. If those preferred amenities apply, you simply select the button that says Add, and they're pulled through under your amenities section. So all of that is an enhancement that we're able to do for both of those two consortia at this time. Of course, if you've made those changes, just make sure to save. So we took a quick preview of the itinerary. We saw what items we needed to change, anything that we need to adjust. Now, before we go about adding new bookings, I actually noticed another item that I might need to change. You'll notice that I have my transfer booking below my hotel. And this was actually, with the ClientBase import, everything will come over in chronological order, so you won't have to worry about it. I was playing around a little bit before with this itinerary just because I do want to show you guys how we can quickly resort bookings within an itinerary. So if for any reason you see that something does need to be sorted, perhaps the transfer, I didn't add a time because it comes after their arrival from their flight. So it could be in a spot that does not make sense with the rest of my itinerary. All you need to do to resort a booking is to select that up-down icon to the left and drag and drop to the appropriate spot. If that had to be on a different date, we can move it under a different date header. But again, it's a quick drag and drop, holding down on that icon, and the booking is automatically adjusted. For anybody that was here for our earlier interface, we've made a lot of changes as of a few weeks ago. So happy to point that out in terms of a quick and easy way to rearrange your bookings. Speaking of bookings and adding information as well, let's go ahead and we'll add a few extra bookings to this itinerary. Not only do we have the day-to-day booking headers, we also have a pre-travel and post-travel section. If you need to add anything from maybe even an arrival note, emergency contact details, visa information, an agency-wide terms and conditions or cancellation policy, your pre-travel or post-travel section is going to be your best bet. So I'm going to go ahead for this one, and I like to add for my international flights, I select new bookings, other/notes. And other/notes is going to be more of a miscellaneous style booking. This is going to be a really good category for your pre and post travel. Every time I have international flights that are with American Airlines, I've created information that will automatically pull up and we can add into the itinerary. So you'll notice that certain booking categories will have this kind of magnifying glass icon. When you see this magnifying glass icon, it signifies that AXUS is going to pull through information that will help you complete and autofill the booking information. I've previously created this content before. So now when I search for it, American Airlines, baggage information, international flights, you'll see that it pulls through as a historical match. Because this information has already been used within another itinerary and I've just manually created it prior, the next time I search for it, it's already provided. So I select from the drop-down menu. It pulls through an image that I selected previously. It gives me notes, so my notes will pull over, and something like this, it's going to be pretty general. So I won't really have traveler-specific details that I need to add. I can leave it as is. It's really something that I include for every one of my AA international flights. And this could be the same with a cancellation policy or visa information, something you add for X number of flights. And the historical matches, they're not just pulled from your database, they're pulled from anybody within your organization. So this is a shared kind of bookings template section that you guys can quickly pull through the general details each and every time. So all that's really left to do on this one was if I did have traveler specific information, an address, phone number, website, this one doesn't really fit with any of those categories, so I can leave it blank. Another field that you'll notice that's unique to the other /notes is a priority field. By default, when I first created this booking, it was low. I've switched it to high, and when we look at that web view a little bit later on, I'll show you what that high priority does. And it will pull through as a high priority booking every time we go to pull it up. So once that's complete, as I said, I don't really have anything extra to add to it. It's more just standard information. It's already set in the pre-travel section because that's where we added it. I click Save. And then that's going to automatically be added into our itinerary. So we can see that AA baggage information up there at the top. Now we can see what happens in terms of adding the new bookings to an empty date header. So here you notice we have that new booking, which is what we just did. If there is a current booking or there's multiple bookings underneath the date header, we do not have that new booking icon. Instead, we have our 3 dots icon. We talked about this a little bit earlier when it came to working on that current booking, edit, duplicate, or delete. But this also provides us an easy way to insert a new booking above our resort or insert a new booking below. That's all I need to do to get back to those booking categories. So let's go ahead and we'll add in a restaurant. For restaurants, round of golf, maybe a spa or a trip to the museum, you want to use your concierge booking category. As simple as it sounds, think of your concierge booking category as anything you would go downstairs and talk to the hotel concierge about. This is the spot where you want to go. Now, concierge will work similar to what we saw with the historical matches in our other /notes. However, there's one extra piece to it. Service provider, we see the magnifying glass. Now, before concierge pulls through to our historical matches, if it doesn't find a historical match, it's going to pull from Google. So this would be the very first time you're adding in that restaurant or the very first time you're adding in the museum. I simply begin typing in the name of the service provider or the restaurant. And instead of it pulling with historical matches, because it doesn't recognize that restaurant or that service provider, it shows me it's powered by Google. It's doing a Google search, which we pull through our Google Places API. I click on that option, and this is where we start to create the booking information. So we select an image. I can choose from the images below via the different thumbnails here. I have the option to select and crop. So you will notice here is actually a great example. The best type of images to use are going to be more rectangular and horizontal. So you'll see for this square image, it's cut off a bit of that wine glass at the top, but we can also kind of reframe it based on what we want to focus on. So when you're choosing images, just keep in mind the best ones are going to be rectangular and horizontal in our shape and size. We've selected an image. We can scroll down. We have the general details that are pulled through from Google, our address, phone number, website. It's automatically given us our start date because that's the date we've chosen to add the booking. So all we're really left to do is traveler-specific details. So we'll go ahead and maybe we'll do an early dinner. They're going to have cocktails before. If I have an end time, I can enter that here. Service type, I'll put dinner. And you'll see there's a few other fields. If you add information, it will display. If you leave it blank, it will not. So feel free to add in whatever information is necessary for your clients and necessary for the itinerary. Otherwise, if you leave it blank, again, it's not going to show up. We would not show an empty header. One of the unique fields for concierge, we thought the notes was unique for our other /notes because it pulled through with our historical matches. For concierge, it's going to be your description field. So if I had a restaurant description, if maybe I had a menu or any other details, a review I wanted to paste in, I could do so under that description field here. Another really neat trick that you can do is you can use the rich text menu above. So we all know items like bolding, italicizing, creating numerical lists or bullet lists, but we also have the option to link. So let's say I had a review. We could even do it for a review of the restaurant. Click here. And then, of course, thank goodness for spell check. And then what we'll want to do is we're going to highlight the display word that we want to create a live link. I've highlighted the word here. I select the link icon, and then I simply paste in my website. So you can, of course, type it in, pasting it in will probably give you the most accurate direction, and we click save. So when our clients are looking at this from their end, this is now a clickable link that brings them directly to that review or directly to whatever that ending link might be. So you can really customize and make that information stand out a bit more. Once complete, click save. And then you can see that the booking is automatically added right below our check-in. From here, we're going to do one other just quick concierge, and we'll take one more look at that historical match pull. I'm just going to click on new bookings. We're going to go back to concierge. And this time, I know we're not, we're going to kind of do a little bit of a pit stop. So we're just going to show off our Los Angeles historical matches. I wanted to show you this just because we have quite a little bit of a list for our historical matches with the word Los Angeles in it. So as you continue to build content, as your advisors or the other agents within your organization build content, you'll start to see that just by simply even typing the location, we start to get all these historical matches that have been used within the concierge booking. Again, it's going to make it really easy because all we have to do is select that restaurant or select that service provider that we want to add to the itinerary. We get the image that was last used, the general details, address, phone number, website, and then we talked about that description field. That will pull over for concierge. So we have that link to the menu that we set up earlier. We have the overall restaurant description. So all we need to do is quickly key in our traveler specific information here. And we'll leave that end time again blank. I don't really have too much other details for this specific one, so I go ahead and I save it. So that historical matches is really going to help speed up that process, especially when you're reusing components from one itinerary to the next. So it's a really great feature. Now that we've added in our bookings into our itinerary, we can move on and take a look at our icon dashboard below. This is where we're going to locate ourselves in terms of adding documents, Travel 42 guides, and then of course we have our previewing section to the right. Let's go ahead and we'll add a document. So I select the documents icon, I'm brought to my supporting document section, and same process. I always say, think of it as adding an attachment to an email. We select upload and we're brought to our desktop. From here, I can go ahead and begin typing in the document that I'd like to use. Once I find it, I click open. And then that will automatically be added to our document section. We do have a little note below the word upload, but I always like to point it out. The best uploads are going to be PDFs, JPEGs, PNGs, and GIF files. So if you're working with a Microsoft Word document, you're going to want to save as a PDF prior to uploading into AXUS. Again, if you ever need a reminder, take a look at the file formats right below the word upload. You also have the option if you need to adjust the display name or resort your supporting documents by clicking on the gear icon to edit document. This gives me the ability to adjust that display name. Supporting documents will be listed in alphabetical order by default. If there's a specific order you would like connected to the way your itinerary runs, simply go ahead and give it an A or a B or a C. Or we can choose to do it numerically. So we would give it a 1, 2, 3. So when AXUS looks at that first letter or number, it knows that that's going to be the order it needs to rearrange it. And of course, when you click save, it would automatically sort within that particular order. Next, we're going to move on to our guide section. This is going to be a little bit different in terms of, again, consortia. If you are a member of Signature, your account is automatically set up to connect and import with Travel 42. All you'll have to do is select import. You're going to see a traveler tab or a traveler field at the top, which will ask you to type in a traveler name and email address. Again, the traveler profiles have come over from ClientBase already, so you can simply type in that name, but make sure it has an email address connected, and then you can begin searching for your destination. So we'll go ahead and start typing in a few destinations here and submit. Now the process is fairly similar for anybody else, of course, that is not a member of Signature. The only difference is you will first need to connect your Travel 42 subscription to AXUS. So if you have a Travel 42 subscription, regardless, everybody the very first time they sign in will see connect my Travel 42 account right here. I recommend taking a look. You see the eye, we have these little eyes throughout the app. Take a look at the article connected to Guides by Travel 42. Select that, and this will show you exactly how to make that initial connection between your Travel 42 subscription and AXUS. It only needs to be done one time per seat, so per advisor. Once you've connected it, you're pretty much good to go. So you'll also have the ability to import. The traveler field is unique to signature. So if you are not with signature, you will not see that traveler field because this is their way to authenticate it. All you will see after connecting your account is the destination field. And the same process, you would type in the destination, choose from the drop-down, and add it in. So it's a little bit different per consortium. Of course, if you have any questions as you move forward within your accounts, you can always shoot us an email. Finally, from here, we're going to go back to that bookings page, and we're at our itinerary level information. We have the traveler profiles that have come over from ClientBase. If you click on the profile, you can see exactly the information that has come over: name, first name, last name, and email. Email is going to be a really important field to have it filled in, because when we publish and we send off the itinerary, we need to have that email address to know who do we send that automatic email to let them know their itinerary is now available. So always just make sure you have that email address entered. Before we send it off, there's one last kind of section we want to take a look at, and that is our itinerary level section. To make any adjustments or edit, we're going to click on the gear icon to edit itinerary. Here, this is where we first of all can adjust the itinerary name. So if it's one way in ClientBase, we prefer to send it off with a different name. You can always modify up here at the top. And we have the option of customizing who the itinerary is for. You can see the default is to pull the traveler first and last names that have come from your traveler profiles. But if I want to simplify this, I can always choose to do Jones family. Maybe we're going to go by a first name basis: Max, Bernice, Sam, etc. So this is completely up to you. And when we look at the PDF and the web view, I'll show you where that field displays. But you are always welcome to adjust that here. Finally, we have the option to add an itinerary image. Now, the itinerary image, out of all the other images we've looked at today, this is going to be the most important one, as when our clients are looking at the mobile app, this is the image that is associated and connected to the itinerary. And when we look at the app, I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. So always, before you publish, add that itinerary level image. Really simple here. We have 3 different ways to add an image. Upload from our desktop. So if you have your own personal images, you can choose directly. We can enter an image URL directly into AXUS. If you're working with Google Images or an online image, you can paste the URL here. Keep in mind, we're no copyright police over here. We're not going to be checking every single image, but we highly, highly, highly recommend that you only choose labeled for reuse images when you're bringing them into AXUS. So when you do paste in that URL, just make sure it is an image that has been labeled for reuse. And if anybody has questions on how to search for a labeled for reuse image on Google Images, add a message in the chat section and we can take a look at that at the end. Finally, we have the option to search the image library within AXUS. This is an image gallery that is powered by Pixabay. If anybody's ever worked with them before, their images are labeled for reuse, copyright free. So all we need to do is type our search terms up at the top. The best images are going to be destination specific. So I type in my destination, I select search, and I get a handful of various images and thumbnails here at the bottom. Simply clicking on the thumbnail will give you that larger image perspective at the top. And we can always use the arrows at the bottom to choose from any of the other thumbnail options. If you're not seeing any images you like, select load more images, and that will continue to give you options. Again, we can choose to select and crop. So if we need to adjust it, we can do so here. And then once complete, we're going to scroll down and save. Now that we've had a look at our bookings that have come over from ClientBase, we've added information, we've added our guides, we've added our documents, we can move forward and publish. When you're ready to publish, you're going to come up to the unpublished status at the top. You'll notice all of your itineraries will start off as unpublished, and only when you come up here and choose publish, that's when those emails are going to be sent out. That's when we're notifying the clients that a new itinerary is now available. While we wait for those emails to come forward, let's go ahead and we'll get that going. I'm going to actually add myself as a traveler to the itinerary. So as the travel planner, you can also add yourself to the itinerary if you'd like to have your own kind of Rolodex of trips on your own mobile app, which is not a bad idea, because then you think about having that kind of sales and marketing tool on the go. You now have all of your top trips available at the palm of your hand. So to add yourself, you click on Add Travelers. You have two options. So if this is your very first time adding yourself, you're going to create a traveler profile. So first name, last name, and your email, save. If you already have a traveler profile in the system, and you can always double check prior just by typing in your name under Assign. Here I have my name and email. I select it, and I add myself as a traveler. We don't have to worry about our name showing up as a traveler on the PDF or web view, because if we go back to the gear icon and we scroll down, we've customized the itinerary for field. So we've made it in a way that we can add our name, we can add an assistant's name, an executive assistant, and their name does not automatically show up as a traveler. So keep in mind that gear icon will bring you to that itinerary for field, and you can customize the information there. So let's get out of this. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to basically take a look, or we'll preview the experience from the traveler perspective. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll go back to my email, grab one of these, and we can start to see exactly what that initial email is going to look like. So it's going to have download your agency name here, and of course, in replace of your agency name here, that's your agency name will be there. We have the title of the itinerary. Each one is customized to that traveler. And then, of course, whether you're with Signature, you're not with Signature, or your agency has their own white labeled application, that will always pull through to the email. Signature members will be using Pocket Travel Consultant. The majority will be using AXUS Travel App. And again, if your company or your agency has their own white label app, that logo and information will pull through as well. We provide the app credentials, so when they download the app, they'll be asked to enter an email address and code. That information is available in this email. The code is a unique code. It's given per traveler. Once they download the app, they enter it that very first time, and they don't have to worry about it, unless, of course, they get a new phone, they delete the app. Otherwise, all new updates, all new itineraries are automatically pushed to that code and to their app. So everything is automatically sent to them. The email will come from you, so we have your logo that you've added, your agency name, and then, of course, your name as the sign-off. We also provide a link to preview the itinerary. So even before they download the app, they can select Preview Itinerary, which brings us right back to that online web view. Here, we've got that itinerary image. We have our overview. And you'll also notice right above the overview is that itinerary for section. So if I didn't change it to Jones family, I'd have all the traveler names listed out, including my own. So again, keep in mind, you just want to modify who you're customizing the itinerary for if you're adding any non-traveler names, or you just prefer to kind of condense it to the Jones family, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, or a first name basis. If we continue to scroll down, we have our day-to-day components. We talked a little bit about that priority setting, if you remember that, for the other/notes. Here, you can see the high priority, which pulls through a gray backdrop and our accent color to the left of it. So that's automatically going to just further emphasize that booking and really help it stand out compared to the general white background that we see for the other bookings. So we have all that day-to-day information here, all of our beautiful restaurant reservations that we added. Now, in terms of our documents, I always say if they need to print, if they need to download their documents, the web view is where they want to go, because they have that document section where they select that icon and it pulls up those supporting documents. So if I had a hotel voucher, if I had maybe a packing list, checklist, anything I needed to print out or just simply access, I can click that documents icon, I select the document I'd like to open, and it will automatically open up on my itinerary. From here, we can always choose to save it, perhaps if we're working on our laptop or on a computer, or of course, print it off if we choose to have the paper copy as well. In addition, from that web view, your clients also have the ability to print the itinerary by generating the PDF. So not only do you have that capability on your end, they have it on their end as well. So if they want to generate a copy of that PDF, they can choose with or without images or more of a compact view, and then select generate PDF. And then here it will give them that digital copy of the PDF. Note the PDF on its own does not include the documents. It's simply the day-to-day information on a generated PDF. So you are always welcome to send them the PDF as a standalone. I know some of our users will do it as a proposal perhaps, but it's there on both ends, both your end and on the traveler end as well. Finally, from here, we're going to pull up the mobile app. Let me grab my phone here, and we'll take a look at how all of the information comes through on the app. Here we can see the AXUS travel app, or of course, whatever the white label application is called. I click on the link. At this point, I've already downloaded it. I've entered in my credentials, and I'm brought to my main itineraries page. Now, if they've already have the app downloaded on their phone, you've added information, you've added a new itinerary, they simply need to refresh the mobile app to pull through any updates or changes. To refresh, we simply pull down on that main screen. You're going to see that spinning wheel at the top, and once complete, we get the most updated version. Most important, we have your logo, your agency name here at the top. This is an agency branded app just for your agency. And then we can start to scroll through and just showing you, I know our Jones Hawaii trip is up there front and center, but to kind of give you that view from the agent perspective of adding it and sending it off to your own mobile app, it just gives you a nice, as we talked about, Rolodex of trips, your own on-the-go sales and marketing tool of, you know, some of your top itineraries and trips. So the next time somebody comes to you and says, oh, do you do Bermuda? Yes, I've got several types of examples right here on my phone with all that day-to-day information. So just a suggestion, if you're interested, it is something you can do. Of course, the app itself is meant for the traveler, but it is nice for the travel planner as well to keep track of everything. So we have a bunch of our itinerary level images. You can see that's where that Hawaii image came into place. I click on the Hawaii image and it pulls me into the actual itinerary. Here I have all of my day-to-day itinerary component, starting with the pre-travel information. I click on it and it pulls through all of the details. Additionally, we can select our resort. We have the image, we have all of that information that we've added, any amenities, etc. And then just looking at our dinner reservation here, we've got all that information, including the live link. So you'll notice the live link that we created down here at the bottom will show up underlined, as well as any address, phone number, or website. So if you're adding an address, if you have a phone number, website, in those specific fields, address, phone number, website, these are live clickable links automatically. I didn't have to create a link. It's an automatic click to dial, click to go to my Maps application type of link. All I have to do is select the link. So I clicked on the address and it pulls me through within my Maps application on my phone. Keep in mind, these are going to be really great links to just keep that interaction alive and utilized within the app, but they do require Wi-Fi. They do require a data plan, either or, simply because my Google Maps would not work without Wi-Fi or a data connection. I wouldn't be able to click on a phone number if I don't have a data plan or a calling plan on my phone. So they need to have the necessary kind of setup within their phone in order for it to work. Simply because we're not navigating inside of AXUS, we're pulling them and navigating through their Maps application. So if we don't have Wi-Fi or data, the Maps application is not going to work for them anyway. So just keep that in mind in terms of explaining how that app works. Otherwise, if we go back to that main day-to-day section, we can look towards the bottom and we have a few other tabs. We have our booking section, which gives us those supporting documents, and we have a nice digital copy right on our phone. Same with the Travel 42 content. I simply click on the destination and I have a handful of subcategories and information to view. And then finally, keeping it interactive, keeping it fun, we have our messages section. This is where your clients can participate in in-app group messaging. They can also send messages back and forth with you as the agent. All they do is select new message, type in the message, and send it off. Messages are public. We don't yet have a way that they would send it just to you. So what we do is we will send you an email when a message is sent through the app, letting you know that a message has been sent. So if you need to respond, there's going to be a big green respond button in the email we send you. If you click that, it's going to pull you in to your main AXUS page. There we go. And you can go back to messages and quickly send them a response. So all of that will let you know when it happens. Additionally, we do send flight notifications, so 24 hours prior to the flight, those notifications will be sent, and we'll also CC you a copy to your email, just so if there's any delays or cancellations, you will be kept in the loop. Finally, we have that plus icon in the top right corner. If your clients need to add their own activities or they're looking to just add their own smaller bookings, they click on that plus icon. They've got the name of the activity. They can add date, time, and any notes. When they click save, this will automatically update to their party's itinerary. So anybody else that is a traveler on that main itineraries page will have that update added as well. All right, so that's our kind of full circle of the itinerary building process, talking about how we can, of course, edit the information that comes over from ClientBase, whether we choose to do so in ClientBase or within AXUS, and then, of course, adding information, adding additional segments that might not exist in ClientBase, or guides, or supporting documents, and then, of course, sending it off in that traveler perspective. Now, I know for some of you who have used AXUS in the past, you might have noticed some of the things we went over today are part of the new itinerary interface changes. So if anybody ever has questions or needs to kind of get a refresher of what we've talked about today, if you click on your help icon in the bottom left corner, you'll see that the top suggestion, it recommends our AXUS cheat sheet to the new itinerary building interface. This is just a great article. It will show you kind of some highlights towards the left, or if you scroll down, you can view the original article, and then that will provide additional links. We've got some how-to quick link videos, adding a booking, how to sort the booking, items we've talked about today. And then for anybody that signed up prior to June 15th, we do have an online tour, of course. Anybody can take a look at the online tour, but it kind of just goes through and highlights some of the new updates that have taken place. And of course, we do have a recorded show and tell session from our webinar series that we had prior to introducing the newest update. So feel free to check out this link again if you just want a quick overview of some of the items we did today, or any questions about the changes with the new itinerary building interface that we rolled out on June 15th. So all of that can be found here. Otherwise, if you have questions, please add them to the chat section, and we're going to take the next 2 or 3 minutes or so, and we'll go over it. So I'll give it about another 10 seconds for anybody to add in their questions, and then we'll go through one by one.